Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. So today we're actually going to be discussing a viewer topic, and a couple videos back someone asked, do you need a college degree to be successful? And also wanted me to discuss things that I've learned from college students in my years of working with college students. So I was excited to talk about these two things. So first off, I think when you think about do you need a college degree to be successful, you have to understand that success is measured differently for everybody. I think we have this monolithic way or this one way of thinking about success, and that's not the case. That's going to look different for everybody. A lot of times when we think about success, we think about how much money is the person making, what title do they have, but the reality is it's different for everybody. So for me personally, I used to think of success. I used to measure success in the luxury car that I wanted to drive. It starts with an L. It was like the thing I thought I wanted forever. And having a big house. But the reality is those things aren't important to me and they no longer measure success for me. So for me personally, success is measured more internally now that I'm getting older. And, that came about in my own journey. So I think about, do I have supportive and loving people around me? How am I showing support and love for those that are in my life? That's how I'm measuring success. And am I living unapologetically in the life that I've been given? That is also a measure of success for me. Am I doing those things? So the flip side of that is yes, I want to be financially secure, but when it comes to measuring my success, I want to be financially secure because I want to be able to take care of the people that are important to me. I want to be able to do the things that I enjoy, traveling and things like that. But that is not a measure of success for me. How much money I make, for me personally, is not a measure of success. Again, it's those internal things that I talked about just a minute ago. How am I showing love for others? What are my relationships like? Those are the things that are important to me. So to get back to the question that was asked, do you need a college degree to be successful? And for me, that's not a yes or no question. I think it really depends on the individual. For me, as a first generation college student, college opened up a variety of opportunities for me and experiences for me. And there's this conversation about and we see in the media that there are individuals, high profile individuals, that have either stopped going to college or they never started college or they dropped out. And I think that's a misconception because the reality is if we go back to those individuals, I would guarantee that education was important. Their parents or their grandparents had college degrees. And ultimately, you have people who are dropping out when we see these high profile individuals. They're dropping out of Ivy League schools. So, what that tells me is that education was important and that they have a strong academic background. So, we can say, yes, they dropped out of college, but look how successful they are. How we measure success by how much money, if they're millionaires or billionaires. But the reality is academics and this love of learning and being innovative through what you're learning was still, what's the word I'm looking for? It was still nurtured in their home. So those are the things that I think are important to understand, is that there's no black and white way to look at it, in that those that are billionaires who haven't gotten a degree, and I think that's sometimes what we measure things by. And again, talking about success, and when we look, and I keep doing air quotes, again, because success is measured differently for everybody, we have to think about these individuals' background. For these individuals, a lot of them have dropped out of Ivy League schools. That tells me two things. Either they are a legacy, and or they had a strong academic. So again, they're a legacy student in that they got into the Ivy League of their choice, but most likely they had very strong academics. So that was important for them in their life to get them into an Ivy League. So I think it's important to note that. So again, there is no hard or fast yes or no for me if you need a college degree to be successful. But what I can say is, for me as a first generation college student, it opened up a world of opportunities. Opportunities that I may not have had if I hadn't left my small town in North Carolina. And to be honest, a lot of the opportunities that I was giving were outside of the classroom. So it wasn't that I was having this momentous opportunity inside the classroom. It was the opportunities I had outside. The leadership that I was involved with, the organizations that I was involved with, the traveling and the conferences that I got to go to, the executive boards that I got to sit on. And this is really, these opportunities are where I've met my best friends. Like, these are individuals I met over 20 years ago, and I'm still with them. And it's because we had that common bond of being in college together. So, and that's the same with individuals who, are in high school together, in middle school together. I have friends that I was in middle school and high school together. I don't have as many. Of course, we taught more in high school, um, but we've stayed in contact. So it's this common bond that makes you, and for me, a lot of my college friends, because we spent those 3 or 4 years together. One good friend I have, we only spent 1 year together. That's like my sister. So we've stayed in contact, even though we only had 1 year together at the institution. So she was a first year student and I was a senior, but we're best of friends now, even with that 1 year. But that's because of we had so many things. First of all, we had so many things in common, but we also did so many outside things together. We were on an executive board together. We did leadership, we did community service together. So that was important for us. The other thing that I will say is that we don't give community colleges enough credit. So those that are working at community colleges, professors, staff members, they're all working their buns off just like anyone at a 4 year school. So they're wanting to make their experience as great as a 4 year school. So I don't think we give community colleges enough credit. And the other thing is we don't give technical jobs enough credit. And we need to stop saying that technical jobs are low skilled jobs, because that's not the reality. Technical jobs are actually very high skilled. And we need to acknowledge that for what it is. So a lot of times when we say college degree, we think about a 4 year school. So I think we need to stop kind of putting 4 year and 2 year up against each other and realize that the two can really work together. And the other thing is college degrees, 4 year college degrees, and some technical 2 year degrees do provide a mobility for you. So I'm working on my 4th degree. I've talked about that. If you haven't seen my first video, I recommend you go back and look at that. But then also my milestones video that talks about my different degrees. And then I would have just dropped the video about me going back to school in my 30s. So I highly recommend those if you haven't been able to see them, just to get a sense of my journey so far and just where I'm coming from. Because I think my perspective is also important to know my perspective, because it is mine and this is, what I'm sharing with you all from my perspective. So I feel like the degrees do provide upward mobility in the career that you choose. And the reality is some fields you need a degree. I think about nursing. I think about if you want to be a professor, you have to have degrees for that. If you want to be a counselor or a social worker, you have to have degrees for those. So there are some where you have to have a degree, and there are a lot more fields that are making it mandatory that you have a graduate degree. So a 4 year degree now isn't enough. You have to have a master's degree, which is an additional 2 or 3 years, depending on the program. So it's important to realize that. But with that being said, that's where I want to come back to community colleges. So college today is double what it was 20 years ago when I went to school. So my hope is that people will look at community colleges as an affordable way to work on their degree, because you can get your general educations at the community college and then you can move to a 4 year degree. The other piece of advice I would give, whether you're a 18-year-old, 16, 17, 18-year-old looking for college, or you're in 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, whatever age, is see if the 4 year school, if you know the end goal is you want a 4 year degree, look and see if the 4 year schools that offer bachelor's degrees, if they have some 2-2 programs, meaning you can do your first 2 years at the community college and then it's an easy transition into the 4 year school. That way, you know what the 4 year school college or university is going to be looking for, the general educations that we call it. So those are those not basic, sorry, wrong word. Those are those general classes that everybody has to take at the university. And it's going to be different depending on what your major is going to be. But if you find a college that has an agreement with the community college, a college or a university that has an agreement with the community college, that makes it much more streamlined for you. And for me, I'm hoping, I was the person who always wanted to go off to college. I went about 2 hours away and I was just like, I want to leave here now. But I hope, if I was growing up right now, knowing how much that a 4-year degree is costing, I would hope that I would look into the community college option, because I can take those classes and then I can transfer to a 4-year school. So I highly recommend that. And it just gets you on a better footing when it comes to debt and things like that. As a first-gen student, there's a lot of times our family isn't going to be able to help us with our college, so we are taking on debt. But there's going to be less of that if you start at a community college. So that's the advice I would give, knowing that I've worked with college students and worked in higher education for over 15 years now. That is advice I would give, is to look at that. And don't see that as a lesser option, but see it as a smarter option in a lot of ways, depending on what major you want to get, depending on what college or university you're looking at going to. And lastly, what I would say before I move to the next topic is that we have to realize that college isn't available for everyone. And what I mean is, college is there, but college isn't for everybody. Sitting in classes and having the structure of someone else dictating what you're going to learn and what you're going to do, that just isn't for everybody. And for accessibility reasons, college isn't accessible or affordable for everybody. So we also have to realize that. I have family members who are brilliant. They're smart, they're brilliant, but they don't have college degrees, but they're successful in their own way, and they're doing things that are important for them, that they're passionate about. I have one cousin who, she is a bomb chef. Like, she can cook anything. Now that I'm vegan, I kind of feel bad because I can't eat as much of her food. And she, right now, she's making food for people. She is sharing joy in making food for people. And I follow, of course, we're friends on Facebook. And shout out to my cousin. I'm not going to say her name, but shout out to her. She knows who she is. And I see her food on Facebook, and I see how people interact with her and how excited they are about her new recipes and the new things that she's going to do. My cousin's brilliant. She has actually a couple technical degrees, and she may not have a 4-year degree. She has her technical degrees, but she's bright. She's doing things. She's successful at what she's passionate about, which is sharing the love of food with other people. So I also want to say that college isn't always available for everybody. We have a lot of them, but they're not always accessible to everybody in our community. So I think that is also important to note. Make sure you share with me down in the comments what you think about if you need a college degree to be successful. And also talk with me about your college experience, if you've been to college or if you're thinking about going to college. Make sure you share with me. So let's talk about what I've learned from college students in my 15 plus years of working with college students. So, and I always say 15 plus years. It's always hard for me to put a number on it, because the reality is, I've been working with college students since I was a college student. I was a leader in college, so I helped motivate and encourage a healthy and vibrant college experience for students, even as a college student, because I wanted people to enjoy college. So you'll hear me say different years, but it's because I feel like I have been working with college students since I was a college student, like I said. So things as a professional working with college students. So since I've graduated with my college student affairs master's degree and working with college students, the first thing I would say is that college students are innovative. So they really keep sparking that within me. I love hearing about their research, and a lot of times this research I didn't even know existed in the world. So those are the things that I like hearing about. The research that they're doing, the community engagement that they're involved with, that just, it keeps my creativity going because of how innovative they are. The other thing is their energy. And that can go along with the positive outlook. They always have a lot of energy and positivity and just energy and passion for what they're doing. So, and I always enjoy that when students are talking about things that they are doing, whether it's in class or out of class. I just enjoy hearing from them because there's so much passion in that what they're doing, and there's such a positive outlook on what is next for them. So, and they know that, like we say, the world is their oyster. They know that there's tons of opportunities once they get out of college. And so I really enjoy that positive outlook and that energetic outlook from college students. And the other thing, particularly with this generation, so right now it's Gen Zs that are in college, and you can Google different generations, and this Gen Z population is very much focused on the community and really about not so much the individual, in that it's like, okay, this is what I'm doing and this is for me, but how do I make things better for those that are coming after me and those that are here now? So they're very community oriented, they're very other oriented, and not in a selfless way, but in a way that brings in other people. So, and I highly enjoy that about this generation. And I've seen it from previous generations, but this generation, they're just about, like, we got to make things better for everybody. It's not just about me, but it's about everybody. We want everybody to thrive, and I highly enjoy that with college students. And I, because of the populations that I've always worked with, I've always seen that, but I see it a lot more in this current generation that is in college age students. They also, this generation also requires of us more balance. So they are finding balance in their own life, and they know it's not all about classes, it's not all about school, but they're finding balance in their own life. And then they, if you're really paying attention to them as professional staff and faculty, then you also want that for your own life. If you're paying attention to the students that we're working with, they're also teaching us things that we should be doing. And one of them is balance in our lives. The other thing is they're all about learning new skills. I can't say I've ever met a college student that isn't like, oh, this is my major, but I'm also learning these things. And it's not even related to my major, but I was just interested in it. I can't say everybody I've met, but there are a lot of students who are like, this has nothing to do with my major, but I just wanted to learn more things. So they're always learning new skills and crafting those things. And again, it may not be anything with their major, but they're just like, oh, I was interested in this, so I'm going to do it. So they show us that that's important even as we go through life. So our college age students really show us that. The other thing is, and this goes along with the new skills that I just talked about, is they're okay to try stuff. I have conversations with students all the time where they're like, "Oh, I decided to try something new. Decided to try whether it's food or if it's this opportunity or if it's a sport, all kind of things that they try." And the beauty about just trying is that you see if you like it or if you don't like it. And it's okay if you don't like something. Like, you just try it and then you move on and you keep doing it if you like it, and you don't if you don't. So I like that they're always trying stuff, whether they're good at it or not. They are just open to trying new things. So, and I think that is a good reminder for me as well, because I've never wanted to be a person who is stagnant, whether that's in a job. I always want to be, being innovative and new and reaching out to students. And that's the other thing it reminds me of. Students will keep you on your technology game. College students will keep you on your technology game. I joke around because I am on TikTok. I joke around that I hope my students don't find me here, or is this where my college students are? But the reality is they're on there and they're engaging in a different way with individuals and with each other. I am not on Snapchat. That is not one of the technologies that I want to get on. But I think it's interesting when I see individuals how they instead of phone numbers, I've seen students getting Snapchat usernames. That's how they're connecting with each other. So they definitely keep you up on your technology. So the last thing I would say is more of a visual. So give me a moment. I'll be right back. So the last thing I would say is college students remind me not to take myself so seriously. So 2 years ago, I wanted to make a rainbow tutu for our Pride Fest in town, and so I did. I hope you all have enjoyed this video. Please like and comment and subscribe, and let me know what other things you'd like to hear me talk about. Have a great day!